What's good, R&B squad? This is Out of Ruth. I trust that this message meets you guys in good spirits. If you're new to this family, welcome. We don't believe that you're here by accident. We're happy to have you, and Jesus is, of course, always happier. As I sit here in the wee hours of Saturday morning, and I'm listening to God speak to me, I'm thinking of all the ways that the Lord speaks to us. Now, sometimes He speaks to us through circumstances. Sometimes He speaks to us through situations. Sometimes He speaks to us through encounters and occurrences. And for this particular message, this was how He spoke to me through encounters, through a situation, through things that I was seeing and hearing going on around me, in the natural and in the spirit. Now, a friend of mine that I hadn't spoken with in a while, we had some catching up to do. And she got to telling me about these people that lived in the house directly opposite hers in her neighborhood. And she talked about how these people were some questionable characters. It seemed like they were doing something illegal at that house. And there would always be all of this noise and all of this loud music, and it was almost like they were dragging the neighborhood down. Like they brought this darkness into the neighborhood with them. And see, my friend, she had been living in this neighborhood for well over 15 years. And so these people had been there for 10 out of this 15, okay? And she just felt like they would never go away. All the praying she was doing and asking the Lord to move them away from the neighborhood so that the neighborhood could be what it used to be before they got there. Because they were literally like the only problematic people in the entire neighborhood, the only problematic house. And she was praying for these people to leave so that the illegal activity could stop, so that all the noise and the disturbances could stop, so they could literally stop terrorizing the other people in the neighborhood. And it seemed for a long time like nothing, no prayer she said, no amount of fasting she did was changing the fact that these people lived there. And then one day she got home from work, one day recently, she told me it was last week, and they were gone. They had been there in the morning when she had left for work, but when she was coming back in the evening, they were gone. The house was empty. It was literally empty. And there was a for sale sign on the front. And she said she just stood there in disbelief with her mouth open, with her mouth just hanging open, just looking at like God had finally answered her prayers in an instant. And not just her prayers, but the prayers of the other praying people in the neighborhood who had been calling out to God for these people to clear out of there so that the neighborhood could be at peace. And I remember she said to me, she said, for all these 10 years that these people have been here, I kept thinking that they were never going to go away. She said, after I got to praying the first year and the second year and the third year, after a while I started running out of hope. I thought maybe God doesn't want to move them. Maybe He wants to move us. Maybe the people who are upstanding members of the neighborhood. Maybe He wants us to do the moving and not them. And she said she genuinely had started weighing her options as to where to move to. And there were a couple other people who were decent people in the neighborhood who wanted to explore their options as to moving. But then right when they were getting ready to leave, like right when they were making plans to actually leave, and they had made peace with the fact that maybe they needed to move, just like that, these people were gone. They were there one morning, and by evening they were gone. And nothing stood there except an empty house and a for sale sign where all their noise and all the illegal activity and everything else used to go on. And I say all that to say to somebody, it's a season right now where things that look like they weren't going to budge Things that look like they were going to go on forever and be that way forever. It's a season of change. It's a season of breakthrough. Things are breaking in the spirit first, and then they're going to break in the natural. For some of you, under the sound of my voice, there are things that you have been praying for a long time. Situations that it's been a thorn in your flesh for a long time. And you're at this point now where you're wondering, gosh, is this ever going to change? Lord, is this ever? You're probably even saying that in your prayers now. Like, Lord, is this ever going to change? You keep telling me to hold on. You keep telling me to fast. You keep telling me to pray. You keep asking me to stand in the gap, and nothing is changing. This situation is exactly the way it was before, or it's worse than it was before. But if you look around you, if this word is for you, if you look around you, look around. Ask the Lord to open your eyes and open your spirit up to seeing what is happening around you. It's a season of change. There are things that have been going on for quite some time. And if you observe your surroundings and you listen to some of the stories the people that you know are going to tell, you will find that it is a season of things that didn't budge finally moving. Things that people were wrestling with, things that people have been in a struggle with for a long time, finally coming to an abrupt halt. It's like my friend said, these people, these rowdy people who were terrorizing the entire neighborhood, they were there just that morning when she left for work. And by the time she got home after work, they were gone. And God had a mic drop moment. It's like God was saying to her, and she even said that to me. She said she felt like God was saying to her, see, I can change things in an instant. The stuff that you've been struggling with for years, God can come in just like that and change it in an instant. And we need to get excited about that. Instead of asking ourselves, is this ever going to change? It looks like it's never going to change. We need to start getting excited about the fact that we serve a God who can do something in the nick of time, who can snap his fingers and make it happen. Just like that. So some of you have been contending with some things for a while. Maybe it's your finances. Maybe it's not where it's supposed to be. Maybe you're wrestling with your career choices. Maybe the thorn in your flesh is not getting along with your family. Maybe it's finding someplace stable to call home. Maybe it's your marriage journey. Maybe it's someone that the Lord has asked you to stand in the gap for, a prodigal. Whatever it is, if it wasn't budging before, it's about to move now. There are things that have been going on for years and going around in circles that God is finally going to bring to a halt. And he is going to do it in an instant. I hope that this message blessed someone. I love you guys. I will be back with another word as soon as the Lord releases me. Take care.